It's been more than 6 months since I started sharing about the return of the Sistra path as a counterpart path to Matias De Stefano's Alkhemia. But I haven't shared the full details of that alignment in one video. So this video is going to be part update, part painting my perspective of how these paths weave together without physical affiliation, and a bit of personal sharing. But first, I would love if you share, like, subscribe to this video. It really helps a lot. The return of the Sistra path simply is a return to the divine intelligence of the body and the rhythm of earth. It is what I call a wisdom path of remembering that is intuitively aligned with principles of the sacred feminine mysteries and the path of the divine body. Through my own perspective and what I have received on this, Alchemia is the path that awakens and shifts perceptions. It is the solar path of mind, awareness, direction, and initiation of elemental consciousness, entering the mind and rooting into the being. The return of the Sistra is the path that remembers what awakens through the body and allows it to live in aligned co-creation with the earth and the all, to hold and to move with you. It is what rises from the being into life through expression, creation, and relationship. Now, these paths have no affiliation with one another in the physical world. So I'm not speaking for Yosoi Alchemia. I'm not opposed to them co-creating, and I'm actually in support of it because I have submitted proposals to Yosoi several months ago. But the Sistra path is built on the foundation of my own remembering of the keys that I have received and seen, and like Alchemia, it is whole on its own. And while I have perceived physical alignment of these paths in some point in time, I think I needed to reach a point within myself where I still wanted to live this path without the visibility, the support that alignment in the physical world with Alchemia would have provided, before it was time to fully share what I've been up to the past 6 months and why the Sistra path is the body of Yosoi Alchemia you probably haven't heard of. But maybe before I get into that, I should introduce myself if you've never seen one of my videos or connected with me in another way. I'm Leanna. I'm a psychic connected most closely to the One Mother, who is also known as the Lost Mother, the 14th harmonic. I am trained in hypnosis, energetic restoration, meditation, and astrocartography, or also known as locational astrology. I had what I call a 14th harmonic awakening, 7 above, 7 below, return journey of divine embodiment. This means my mind was awakening first, the 7 above, over almost a 10-year span, from when I was 23 years old, when the seeking eye, also known as Thoth, found me collecting heart-shaped rocks on a beach in Normandy, until my 33rd birthday, when I had a body awakening, or my body awakening journey began, really. This is the 7 below, and my psychic gifts became more expressed. My 36th birthday is in 10 days. My mind awakening, while I was interested in occult topics, was mostly very mundane. Learning my own mind, my voice, through education, careers, people, places, as well as healing and coming into safety. My body awakening, on the other hand, has been pretty wild. Before moving to a spiritual, energetic consciousness practice, I worked in the world of international education and education abroad, which I see as very much a part of my path, preparing me for what would come through with the Sistra path. I have a master's in international education, and I worked in education in some form for 10 years, spanning mental health to youth development, and then education abroad for a top media and journalism school for 8 years. Navigating the decentralized leadership of a large educational institution teaches you a lot. But more importantly, my background in transformative travel and cross-cultural collaboration is something that is being carried with me through my journey still. So how did this all begin for me? I've shared many other stories over the past year around this, which you can find on my YouTube. How my path was connected to Matias De Stefano, like many others are. And I knew this early in my body awakening journey when my psychic gifts came online. But I actually didn't feel called to pay attention to him after I found that out, after I learned that and felt that for over a year or more. In part, I think because I needed to trust my own knowings first, which are so closely related to what he shares from a different orientation, a different layer. Because without that time to navigate my own knowings, I might have discredited how they are received, question their value, or not see how the value and how they weave together, how they're meant to restore as one. And sometimes, a lot of times, I still see things that I've never seen before. And I'm like, oh, he knows that too. I started receiving information that is part of this path several years ago now. I just didn't have the shape of the Sistra path. I've been sharing about alchemy, the missing ion, union of mind, heart, and body, and the Philosopher's Stone. Before this, I have a YouTube series, which is very much a part of this journey, Weaving Galactic History, which is me sharing the story of how the missing ion expressed in form through the galaxy and the universe, and then spreading through the heart of the One. What broke, what was lost, and my channelings of the Divine Mother, including the Lost Mother, who is the One Mother. In April of 2025, I started to receive some glimpses into this path, connected to education, community initiatives, and alchemy, the number of people connected to it, and little things like that. And I knew that it was connected to whatever the next iteration of the Yosoi path was going to be. But since then, some timelines have been missed, some timelines were closed, and I think some keys were lost. Not for me, because I embody through my connection with the Lost Mother, the lost. And they always return in some way. Now, I also want to say, while I remember and know many past lives, have a strong psychic connection and channel and embody multidimensional gifts, my magic thus far is much different than Matías's, whose path has been so loudly magical that it would be almost absurd for those open to it to deny it. It might not resonate with you, but you can't deny the magic of it. Remembering from 12 years old, teaching for many years, and moving through the journey while probably not always easy, always finding the way. That's not my journey, and it's not supposed to be. It's the subtler remembering of what was lost, the process of unburying yourself, digging yourself up from the below, waking up the mind and waking up the body. It is the retrieval and restoration of your magic. It is the reweaving of the story to wholeness so that it can be born anew. And if you are not looking fully, you might miss it again. And that is the point. That is the magic. So the paths, Alkhemia and Sistra, aren't meant to be the same. They're meant to build the bridge from that which always was and is to that which was lost and is ready to return. In November of 2026, the form of the Sistra path started to come in more fully. In January, I started to write the Mythic Ethos transmissions on Substack and to build the form of the Sistra. It didn't come in all at once, it was gradual, and my higher self aligned it in a way I feel to test the waters and who could receive it, what threads were ready to return, who could feel it without having it explained to them fully. Because there is a whole soul arc in this of reconciliation and remembering to many. Who could fully feel the words, then the teachings, and to almost stamp it in time so that it could continue to grow. And then this became a whole new world built, a connective tissue of its own of remembering. I've been working on it almost every day since January. And here we are today in July of 2026. And what are we up to now in the Sistra path? I'll read the official mission statement of the return of the Sistra, which it restores the relationship between human consciousness, the body, and the living earth through ritual, rhythm, energetic work, and cultural remembrance. Rooted in ancient mythic lineages and expressed through modern practice, this work reconnects individuals and communities to the intelligence of natural cycles, lunar, planetary, and elemental. It invites a return to embodied awareness, where the body is not separate from knowing, but a primary site of perception, creation, and truth. And we have different ways of expressing this mission through embodied journeys of Tefnut, the goddess of moisture and dew in Egyptian myth, which is also the 10 journeys of the Cisterns, and through Lunar Barques to Egypt, that are also soul-aligned grid-working journeys connected to what I call embodiment or expression grid nodes that have intentionally been sleeping and are ready to be sung up through sound, motion, and embodied ritual. I call these Cistern nodes, which this is a remembered term, but they hold waters of creation, memory of time, and the rhythm of the earth. The intelligence that when it sounds back up, it returns to the mother matrix, and the memory of how we co-create with the intelligence of the earth. So I can give you an example from some of Matías's recent journeys. He recently went to Cyprus and was sharing stories about the womb, the body, Aphrodite, some other things. Through the stories, it would sound like a Cistern node if you don't know how to feel them, what to look for. But it's not. It's not that those associations are wrong, it's just a different orientation of receiving. It's what I call a stellium node, where the light, the frequencies of the above meet the root of the below. And from there, it branches and weaves with water, mycelium, and other networks to Cistern nodes. The corresponding expression node, our Cistern node for Cyprus, is Crete. The journeys, though, are not only for grid work, though, but embodied creation, remembering connection and craft with the earth, with place, with people, through meeting those elements fully through what has shifted and returned. Through experience. Now, a core principle of my teachings on bridging heaven and earth is that it is not only bringing heaven or the higher frequencies to earth for awakening and activation, but also sounding the earth back to heaven. This completes a full circuit of the one song of time and space. And for that, you don't only need awakening of the mind, but you need nervous system coherence, safety, stability, and relational weaving. It expresses through modalities and active restoration and remembering practices. including the Philosopher's Stone embodiment practice and framework, which will be coming soon in an online format. I've received intuitively, so it will be coming soon. And is practiced during the embodiment journeys as well. Philosopher's Stone embodiment are 14 components of your energetic being and form that connect and move in your body so that the mind meets the body and the heart, restoring the energetic flow of your multidimensional awareness with the creative expression of your form, so that you can stand in your own center but still move with creation from that alignment held in the coherence of your energetic body. And this will be, I've received a 14-week online program, and it will be shared in written format in other places. So continuing with the other frameworks, the next one is the Mother Matrix of Alchemy, which is a framework of alchemical correspondence of the natural elements 1 through 94. We work with plutonium and neptunium where alchemia does not, and 14 bridge positions or ghost positions for a total of 108 elemental agents that correspond to the 3 alchemical primes, gold, silver, and mercury, to the universal elements of earth, air, fire, and water, and the wheel of time through the 12 zodiacs. This created a triadic substrate of emergence from below when you move from Pisces to Aries, so backwards, which is the Sistra orientation, and a substrate of radiance from above, from Aries to Pisces. You can think of the Mother Matrix of Alchemy as a language of communication between the elements, the sky above, and the earth below. Ark Astrology, which is a mythic interpretive framework of the soul's journey with the above and the below, unifying tropical and sidereal astrology with the bridge of Ophiuchus, showing us an alchemical transformation as you move through your experiences of life. The system is held by the embodiment of Artemis below and the stellar consciousness of Orion above. The framework of triadic harmonic linguistics, which is a Pythagorean linguistic framework to remember the true essence of language across cultures, even mythic language or tones that don't have an agreed or defined meaning. And you can find most of these frameworks on the Sistra website for free, or on my Substack or other places. And they all work together in the way I weave my practices, modalities, journeys, teachings, and my storytelling. And the Sistra Path, in addition to these frameworks, has pillars, foundational pillars of our goals, our way of expressing and accomplishing the mission. Part of that is our mythic ethos. The mythic stories that I share are what I call remembered and embodied myth. And myth is a key part of alchemia as well. And the way I feel the difference is that Matías is unraveling the myths that still bind us, and sometimes sharing a very archetypal interpretation. Remembered myths are bridges of the myths that we lost. And I remember a piece of the story that bridges the perspectives that have come before and remained disparate. Whole. Or revealing the pieces that don't belong. Embodied myth is how the myth lives in the body, where they are held and how we can return through their dissolution or their remembering. And sometimes how we've perceived them, not just subconsciously, but unconsciously through the behaviors and actions of our body. Educational and cultural initiatives around the Wheel of the Year, local stewardship and connection to place, people, and daily life is another pillar. But one of the most important pillars or foundational teachings of the Sistra Path is the 42 Abides of Ma'at. You may have heard of the 42 laws of Ma'at, which are translated from Egyptian hieroglyphs. These are not the translated laws of Ma'at, although I honor and respect those. Ma'at is the Egyptian principle of cosmic order and divine balance of the heart, the rhythm of time. The 42 abides are the spine of the Sistra path, and in a way, alchemia as well. They are abides or codes for working with the universal law, galactic time, and co-creation with the cosmos. They abide with time, memory, sovereignty, and a graceful reality weaving that meets it and aligns it instead of bending or bypassing it, providing a rhythm for connection, community, and remembering the natural rhythm of reality and how to move with it. In all these areas, I feel innately work with and complement alchemia's path, breathing life into the structure of that path's initiation, providing a compass, a mode of remembering, a body that holds them in coherence. But the Sistra at its core and the way it wants to endure is an instrument of returning to oneself as a part of the one and moving with the whole, daily. And how we remember to return to the earth as a body, as a mother. And the way that I do that, the arc that I am completing is the opposing one to Alchemia's solar fire, to their ontology frameworks, to their mind. But before I talk about that more, I do recognize and appreciate and honor that Alchemia has received codes and a path that may feel like it is holding both the solar fire and the elements that Sistra's path carry. And that's because it is complete in itself. From their orientation that they are moving from, which I perceive as solar light, this is how it leads. But it's only half the circuit. It's the one that descends from the above to the below. To amplify the purpose, the resonance, the opposing return is needed. The correspondence that answers with Alchemia as one. The Sistra path, in this way, is a path of lunar alchemy, of salt sapience, the coherence that is held in the body through aligned action and movement, of wisdom. It moves from the below to the above, through remembering with the womb space, the earth as a creative seat of the womb of creation, and the body's own cauldron of truth. It's led through lunar salt and sounded from the waters of life below, of coherence of time and memory to Alchemia's alignment of time and space. So the Sistra move with lunar alchemy, supported by solar principles, which is transducing what awakens your perception and awareness into lived expression. I perceive Alchemia as moving with solar alchemy anchored by lunar frequencies. To me, this is transmutation that expands what you see, your perception of your mind, what you allow to move through you. And I could go into this so much more, as I have done for myself, pretty much element by element of each path, because I needed to sit to why I was doing this. In times I felt like it wasn't needed, or I could just give up. To see how I was meant to hold it. But I'm not going to do that, because I'm not here to fully define Alchemia for you. It will be what it needs to be for you. But the key here I want to share is that much of Alchemia is shining light, bringing awareness, unraveling what has bound the mind, the heart, and the body, to remember them back to center, showing you the direction answering the what and why. Sistra is the path that does remember them, restores them through the body to be lived in tandem as Alchemia is doing its work, Sistra is doing its work. In oscillation, dancing, the same dance. And it remembers them and restores them, not just for me, not just for Matías or the past themselves and everyone who participates in them, but so that you can see and know how to bridge them within yourself and then bridge them for others and co-create through coherence beyond what the past teach. At least that's how I see it. Is the answering form that holds it. The how and the where of the return. And we are opposites, but opposites does not mean in conflicting opposition, but in completion. That is part of the story to be told, to remember. The dance of opposites that creates in truth. How two sovereign and whole paths remember to bridge as one without losing the other. To return or come home to the heart of the one. By running in tandem, by holding them as one energetically, recreates and reestablishes the harmonics and scaffolding of true, unified, co-creative dynamics. So to me, they are models, Sistra and Alkhemia, of fundamental building blocks of co-creation, restoring through the union of polarity within duality, transforming the toxin of division into the truth of creation. Both paths are held through an inner union of balance, light and dark, sun and moon, north and south. And this is why they can harmonize as one, without dissolving each other. And Sistra does this through the regenerative and restorative principles of the body. So where is the Sistra path moving now? The path was originally received in a very specific timeline that held Alkhemia. I don't fully know how it did that, but that's just what I received. Dates for the journeys, ways in which it would express. And I've recently let go of those dates so that they can take shape as they are supported. The journeys of the Cisterns will still be met by me before April 2029 because it feels non-negotiable for my soul. Some of them will open for others to join and co-create through the journeys, but some of them may not, especially some of the more obscure ones. You can already join a light online community, the Cistern Circle, to reconnect with your own rhythm and meet the rhythm of the moon and the power of remembering through your body. And that's free to join. And we gather every full moon in the free tier and have quarterly workshops in a tier that's $7 a month. And there's lots of other resources in there as well for free. Frameworks are shared on my website because information, it feels like, for the most part, will be shared as free resources. I'm working on a few of the other things that I mentioned around energetic work and modalities. I've probably shared over 100 micro teachings since February through reels and shorts, so your own adventure awaits you already. I'm currently outlining a companion guide book that I received many months ago that was going to come through, but it wasn't time to write yet, for the Sistra path and the union of lunar and solar alchemy. It's a full catalog of cosmology, myth, alchemy, and embodiment. And much of to weave and work with many of the frameworks. I've also received the knowings designs for ritual objects and tools that will enhance our natural ability and connection of embodying our multidimensional self and coherence, including the Trine of Return pendant, which I've talked about in other videos, a channeled ritual oil, a ritual cistern or bowl, and a tea that balances the awakening of eye of mind and supports the eye of body in one. When those will be done, I'm not sure. And they may be all done as a fundraiser or pre-sale to start. Some of the goals that I received, like workshops around creative ecology and land stewardship connected to Halinata and the global summit that marks the completion of this part of the journey in 2029, I can't currently fully see or make sense of how they'll be held without physical partnership, because they depend on community growth that just isn't there for the Sistra. But who knows? Maybe that will build in time in other ways. I'm still planning the Lunar Barques in Egypt. And I'm still connecting with people, trying to build awareness, trying to find the people who resonate with this path, who see it, who feel it, and some of those who feel like this path is much theirs as it is mine. And if you'd like to connect, partner, or support, please reach out. You can also donate in the link below. You can read more about it on the Sistra website. And if you feel the resonance of it, I hope to see you in some way on it. And ultimately, even though sometimes I don't know how these things are going to become or make it into the world and be received, for me, it's been such a joy to remember them, to bring them through has meant a lot to me personally. And I can't wait to share it with more people who resonate with it. So thank you so much for watching. Again, please share, like, and subscribe if you feel called to. And I'd love to hear your thoughts below.